Okay, all right, yeah. So now moving forward with some very targeted questions, so to Julianne. Turning towards a perspective specifically from a DOT, as we embrace digital delivery, we unlock a more connected and intelligent approach to transportation infrastructure. We're under pressure from a growing demand, limited resources, climate change, and more. So from an owner-operator perspective, what do you see as the biggest potential, and how is New York State moving in this direction?
Yeah, I think, the biggest obvious potential from a design standpoint on the owner side is, digital delivery is streamlining the transfer of information from design to construction and eventually to asset management. So we're all dealing with limited resources. In New York State especially, there is a great investment in priority projects, but we're also seeing an increase in emergency response for record flooding and damage due to bridge hits. So we all have less staff and a lot more work to do, but digital twins allow for more efficient coordination among the various engineering disciplines, and as well as more streamlined stakeholder buy-in. So if we think about all the different stakeholders that we have on a typical transportation project, you have utility companies, railroads, local governments and authorities, environmental permitting agencies, the general public. Now, out of all these entities, how many of them do you think are well-versed at reading engineering drawings, right? Not many of them. So this is really where the digital twin really shines. If you want to go to the next slide, I think. This was especially helpful during our second pilot project for East 138th Street, where we had to coordinate with multiple utility owners that really became an absolute necessity for us to be able to actually complete this project. And the digital twin allowed us to streamline the communication among the various engineering disciplines. So we had structures, highways, drainage engineers, utility engineers, and we were able to work out that clash detection during design that saved that valuable time and cost savings during construction. So with our conventional 2D plans, the utilities, they just show up as lines on the drawings, and it's very easy to lose that among the other scope of works that's shown on the plan sheets. But if you miss that utility in your planning phase and your review phase, and then you run into it in the field when you're out in construction, the cost implications and delays can really end up killing a project schedule. So this is one of the biggest positives for digital twins, is being able to create these 3D solids by all the different engineering disciplines and then have them come together into one 3D model where we can review the clash detection and specify clearances. So I will admit on our East 138th Street project that when we very first referenced in all the 3D solid models from the utility files into our bridge model, nothing really lined up properly where it should have been, and we were like, oh boy, here we go. But what that did is the digital twin allowed us to, it really forced us to have that conversation at that time and figure out, okay, who went wrong, what were the assumptions, did we have miscommunications? Now we can coordinate and work that out. So you can see the graphic up on the screen that this was the project down in New York City, and you could not sneeze without running into something underground in this area. Every type of utility imaginable was located on this project. But really, what the digital twin allows you to do is to have those discussions during design when you can work it out where cost and schedule delays are actually minimized compared to if you ran into that during the field. And what that does, it allows us to go into construction having one less unknown to deal with. So, I think I've hit on the biggest potential from the design and the construction standpoint, but what I want to see as an owner to kind of come full circle is watching that grow into asset management. So, I've been thinking a lot about this over the last 2 days, how I was going to answer this question about what I want to see as an owner regarding going digital into asset management. And I was thinking, if I had my magic wand that I could wave and I could get whatever I wanted, what I would really love to see is to have every single one of our bridges in New York State. We have 17,600 bridges. I would love to have every single one of those in our inventory have a digital twin so that I could kind of go into Google Earth and I could travel around the state and I could see every single one of my bridges in its digital twin version. And after the announcement this morning, I kind of feel like you guys heard me. So if anyone else has any requests, I'll wave my magic wand. No, because that's very exciting to me because, we know that there's immense benefits that would provide during our planning and scoping phases for new and replacement projects, bridge rehabs. But what I really think that this efficiency could play into is in our emergency response. So the initial response phase for any emergency, and I hate to admit that I've been involved in a lot more in the last 2 years than I'd like to admit, but it's all about collecting data about the structure in question. So, where is this bridge located? Do we have record plans? What's the load carrying capacity? What are the conditions of these elements? How close are we to the right-of-way? Are there any overhead utility lines? Do we need to get that utility coordination started right away? All of those questions could be at our fingertips if we had a digital twin of every single one of our structures in our inventory. So, I really want to think about that. And, the other more important aspect of that is if we did have these digital twins, I could be answering all of those questions from the comfort of my office, the comfort and safety of my office. So now I'm not standing outside during the emergency response right next to my bridge while I got traffic 4 feet away whizzing by going 70 miles per hour. So not only do we have, the coordination, stakeholder buy-in, all the obvious things for, going digital and digital twins, but I think that there's a real safety component to it as well. The more work that we can do, not physically out in the field adjacent to traffic, the better.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. And in order to do some of that, to potentially have a whole list of your assets in what we would see as an open ecosystem, an open environment, we would need to have all those digital twins open, right?